My dad drained my entire college savings to fund vacations for his new wife and her kids. He said, "They deserve a better life than you ever could." I said nothing. And what I did next destroyed everything. 3 months later, he had nothing left. Never thought I'd be the one writing some wild family drama like this, but here we are. My dad, man, I used to look up to him. Like, yeah, he wasn't perfect, but I figured at the end of the day, he had my back. You know, father and son, supposed to be unbreakable. Turns out, he was just playing me the whole damn time. While I was busting my ass in school, saving up for college, working crappy part-time jobs, thinking I was building a future, this dude was quietly draining every penny I had. My whole college fund. Gone. And not cause he was broke, or struggling, or anything like that. Nope. He used it to spoil his shiny new wife and her kids. Paid for their vacations, fancy crap, new cars, you name it. Like they were royalty or something. And when I finally found out, he didn't even deny it. He straight up said, "They deserve a better life than you ever could." I just stood there like, wow. That's what I was worth to him. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just shut my mouth and started planning. 'Cause if he thought he was walking away clean, he had no idea who he was messing with. And yeah, if you like hearing messed up real stories like this, hit that subscribe. Trust me, this one gets insane. The crazy part? I didn't even find out right away. I was out here grinding, working 2 jobs while trying to keep my grades up, thinking every dollar I earned was going toward my future, you know? I even skipped out on trips with friends, barely went out, just so I wouldn't touch my college savings. Meanwhile, this man was out there playing daddy warbucks for his new family. New wife, new kids, fancy vacations, nice restaurants, designer crap, all on my dime. And the messed up part? Everyone around me kept saying stuff like, "Wow, your dad's doing so well now." Or, "He seems really happy these days." Yeah. No kidding. He was living large, on money that was supposed to be my shot at a decent future. I only found out because my mom slipped up one night. We were talking about financial aid stuff for college, and she goes, "Well, at least you've got your fund to fall back on." And I was like, what fund?" The look on her face, man, she froze. Completely. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. Long story short, she thought the account was still there. Turns out my dad had gotten control of it years ago, and emptied it out behind everyone's back. I confronted him later that week, straight up asked where the money was. This dude didn't even blink. He just shrugged and said, "Look, they deserve a better life than you ever could. You'll figure it out. You're young." Like I was some freaking inconvenience. Bro, I swear, in that moment, part of me just shut off completely. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just stood there, nodding like, "Alright, cool." But inside, I was done with him. Completely done. And while he thought I was gonna roll over and take it, yeah, he had no clue what was coming next. After that convo with my dad, something inside me just switched. Like, I wasn't even mad in the way you'd expect. It was worse. I was cold. I was numb. I stopped seeing him as my father that day, honestly. From that point on, he was just another dude who screwed me over, like anybody else would. And bro, the craziest thing? He actually thought I was gonna take it. Like, he really sat there, looking all calm, thinking I'd just move on and figure my life out. Meanwhile, he's out there playing house with his new wife and her 2 kids like they're his world now. New stepdaughter getting a brand new car for her sweet 16. His stepson flexing designer crap I couldn't even dream of affording. Meanwhile, I'm out here trying to figure out how the hell I'm gonna pay for college without selling a kidney. And they had the nerve, the absolute nerve, to invite me over for dinner like everything's cool. I showed up once, mostly cause my mom asked me to, trying to keep some kind of peace. And bro, the vibes were so fake it was insane. His wife sitting there, acting like she's some kind of saint, saying, "Oh honey, we're still family. We'll support you however we can." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Yeah? Funny definition of support you've got." She got real quiet after that. My dad shot me that look like, "Watch your tone." I just smiled and kept eating. Inside, though, I was done playing their little fantasy family game. I knew right then, if they wanted to play dirty, I could play dirtier. They took my money, my future, my shot at college. But they had no clue who they were messing with. And trust me, I had time to think. A lot of time. I started watching them differently after that. Every fake smile, every little family dinner invite, every shiny gift they paraded around. My dad was taking his new wife and her kids on vacations I never even dreamed of. Weekend getaways, cruises, five-star resorts like it was nothing. Meanwhile, I was busting my back just to afford textbooks. And the worst part? People around us kept saying stuff like, "It's so great your dad finally found happiness." Happiness? He bought himself a new family with my future. But of course, they wanted to keep playing this little happy family act. His wife, sitting across from me at dinner, putting on that sweet voice, saying, "You know, we're all one big family now. You'll always have a place here." I didn't even blink. I looked right at her and said, "That's funny. I don't remember signing up for this new family membership." The whole table went quiet. My dad gave me that warning look, like I was out of line. But at that point, what was he gonna do? He already took everything. My respect for him was gone. I kept my face calm, but inside, I was building a plan. I wasn't gonna yell, I wasn't gonna fight him directly. He wanted to play smart. I was gonna play smarter. Every time they smiled, acted like nothing happened, like I was too weak to do anything, it just fueled me more. I wasn't done. Not even close. And they had no idea what was coming. After that night, I started moving in silence. I knew if I came at him directly, he'd just spin it like I was bitter or ungrateful. That's the game he always played: make himself look like the victim, make everyone else feel sorry for him. So instead of fighting loud, I got smart. First thing I did was start digging into every financial document I could find. I still had access to some old accounts we used to share, stuff he probably forgot about, little paper trails left behind when everything was still in my name. And what I found? It was worse than I thought. He didn't just empty my college fund, he'd been moving money around for years. Opened credit cards under my name, took out personal loans, and buried it all under layers of fake paperwork. Meanwhile, my credit score was getting destroyed without me even realizing it. And that's when I stopped feeling angry and started feeling focused. Because now it wasn't just about him stealing money. He was actively trying to screw up my entire future. I met with a financial attorney, laid everything out. She took one look at the documents and said, "This isn't just family drama. This is straight-up financial fraud." Finally, someone who didn't feed me the usual, "He's your dad, just work it out." Garbage. She walked me through every step. How to file the claims, who to contact, how to freeze accounts, how to flag the credit agencies. And while I worked behind the scenes, my dad kept living like nothing was happening. They were still posting pictures from vacations, still acting like they were untouchable. His wife even sent me a message once. "You need to stop being so selfish. We're trying to build a happy life. You'll understand one day." I read it, smiled, and thought, no, you're the ones who don't understand. Yet, as I kept digging, the more I realized how far he'd gone. This wasn't just a one-time thing. He planned this for years. The loans, the credit cards, the hidden accounts, he had started siphoning my future away before I even turned 18. And while I was out here thinking I was responsible, working late shifts, staying in on weekends to save money for tuition, he was blowing my savings on luxury hotels, golf memberships, spa days for his new wife, and private schools for her kids. I found receipts for vacations they took while I was still in community college trying to scrape together enough credits to transfer. First-class flights. 5-star resorts. Private beach villas. My college fund was literally paying for their dream life. And every time I saw another picture pop up online of them smiling, holding drinks by some infinity pool, it just fueled me more. People around me, even a few mutual friends, kept saying stuff like, "You just need to let it go. It's family. Money isn't worth tearing people apart." I heard that line so many times I almost started laughing when people said it. Easy for them to say, it wasn't their entire future flushed down the drain. But I didn't argue with anyone. I kept my mouth shut, kept my head down, and kept building the case. My lawyer was incredible. She walked me through every little detail: the fraud claims, the identity theft charges, the credit reporting disputes. The more evidence we gathered, the clearer it became. We weren't just talking about stolen money anymore. What he did was a felony. And the funny part? He still had no clue. Every time I saw him, he acted like nothing was wrong. "How's school going?" he'd ask, like we were still father and son. I'd smile, play along, answer politely, and leave. But inside, I was counting down the days. Because while he was still playing his little family man routine, thinking he won, I was quietly getting everything ready to take him apart piece by piece. The more I stayed silent, the more reckless he got. It's like he thought my silence meant I finally accepted everything. They kept posting. More vacations. New cars. His wife showing off her blessed life, like she built any of it herself. Meanwhile, Her kids were flashing brand new watches, designer clothes, private tutors, even prep courses for Ivy League schools. All while I was patching together my education one semester at a time. But here's where everything started shifting. My lawyer had been quietly working with a private investigator, pulling bank records, subpoenaing financial institutions, getting phone records, even finding emails where my dad was bragging to an old friend about how he solved his financial problems when he met his new wife. His exact words were, "What's the point of letting that money sit there for him? He'll just waste it like most kids do. At least now it's helping someone who deserves it." The moment I read that email, something inside me snapped. He wasn't just stealing. He genuinely believed I didn't deserve it. That I wasn't even worth the chance to try. And that's when I knew I wasn't just taking back what was mine. I was going to destroy him. My lawyer filed everything at once: full fraud complaints, identity theft charges, financial abuse, civil claims, and criminal reports. Multiple agencies got involved, and things started moving faster than I expected. Accounts frozen. Creditors notified. The IRS flagged everything. His entire little empire? Suddenly locked up overnight. He couldn't access half his accounts anymore. Creditors started calling. His new wife? She started panicking. She reached out to me saying, "You're ruining everything. You need to stop this now before it's too late." I didn't even respond. Because this wasn't even personal anymore, this was business now. And they were watching the consequences finally catch up. And the best part? The more everything unraveled, the more desperate they got. His wife started messaging everyone in the family, playing the victim. She was sending out these long, dramatic texts like, "We never meant any harm. This has all been blown out of proportion. He's just angry and trying to punish us." Some people bought it, others didn't. But I stayed quiet. I wasn't going to get into some public back and forth while they spiraled. They were exposing themselves better than I ever could. My dad finally called me, first time in months. He tried starting off calm, like we could work this out man to man. "You've made your point," he said. "Let's be reasonable. There's still time to fix this." I let him talk, let him ramble on like he still held some kind of leverage. And when he finished, I just said, "You chose this path. Now you get to walk it." Silence on his end. Long pause. Then, the anger kicked in. "You ungrateful little, you think you're better than your own father? After everything I did for you?" I didn't even flinch. I calmly said, "Yeah, actually, I do." He hung up. After that call, the real damage started setting in. Debt collectors were knocking. Banks were freezing assets. His wife's credit tanked right along with his. The luxury cars? Repossessed. The private schools for her kids? Couldn't afford the tuition anymore. The country club memberships? Gone. And slowly, friends started distancing themselves. Nobody wanted to be tied up in his mess. The whole perfect little life they built on my money started collapsing piece by piece right in front of them. And I was watching every second of it. By the time everything really started collapsing, the panic hit them like a brick wall. His wife went from smug little Instagram captions about building our dream life to full-blown desperation overnight. She was calling my extended family, trying to rally sympathy, painting me like I was some cold, heartless monster. "He's tearing our family apart. He's attacking his own father." The audacity of it all was wild. Meanwhile, my dad started getting hit from every angle. His employers got wind of the investigations, and let's just say they weren't thrilled to have someone facing financial fraud charges on payroll. HR called him in for a meeting, and not long after, he was officially unemployed. That six-figure salary that helped float his whole fake empire? Gone. The house payments started falling behind. The credit card companies came knocking. His cars got repoed. And the best part? The private investigator my lawyer hired found out that his new wife had quietly been funneling money into an account in her name this entire time. Yeah, while my dad was busy robbing me blind, his new wife was robbing him blind too. Turns out, she wasn't planning on sticking around once the money dried up. When she realized how fast everything was falling apart, she bailed. Took her kids, cleaned out what little was left in the joint accounts, and dipped. No warning. Just packed up and disappeared. My dad? Completely blindsided. He called me again, but this time it wasn't anger. It was full-on begging. "Please, you've made your point. I lost my job. She left me. The money's gone. What more do you want from me?" And I'll be real with you, part of me wanted to go off. To scream at him. To rub it in his face. But instead, I stayed calm. I said, "You did this to yourself. This is just a bill finally coming due. And I hung up. That was the last conversation we ever had. And honestly, I felt nothing. No guilt. No second thoughts. Just closure. The craziest part? The fallout didn't stop with just his personal life falling apart. Once his employer let him go, word spread fast. Small town gossip travels like wildfire, but financial scandal? That's fuel on the fire. Suddenly, old business partners started backing away. Friends who used to praise him at every family barbecue were now too busy to return his calls. People he thought were loyal? They went radio silent the second the money disappeared. Even some of my own extended family, who originally told me to just let it go. And family is family. Now they were calling me up saying things like, I had no idea it was that serious. And if I knew he was doing that to you, I would have said something sooner. Yeah, right. Convenient timing, huh? Funny how people get brave once the ship's already sinking. But I didn't care. At this point, I wasn't looking for anyone's support or validation. I'd already handled my part. Now I was just watching him sit in the wreckage he built for himself. He sold the house. Not because he wanted to, because he had to. The mortgage payments ballooned, the late fees stacked, and eventually the bank gave him no choice. The house he proudly called his dream home was gone within weeks. Then came the cars. The luxury SUV his wife flaunted everywhere? Gone. The sports car he bought himself like some middle-aged victory lap? Repossessed in broad daylight. Neighbors watched it happen. People filmed it. One video even ended up circulating online, and trust me, people love watching karma in real time. His entire image, everything he built to show off how successful he was after leaving my mom, it all unraveled publicly. And that's when the panic really started setting in for him. The calls he made to me went from angry, to begging, to full-blown desperation. Please, just tell them to back off. You got your point across. You win, okay? You win. Can you just stop this now before there's nothing left? That last part hit me differently. Because there wasn't anything left. That's exactly where I wanted him to be. I wanted him to feel what it's like to have nothing after he left me to scrape by while he played house with a new family on the money meant for my education, my future, my stability. So I told him flat out, this isn't about me winning. It's about you finally paying for everything you did. And I'm not lifting a damn finger to stop it. And then, I hung up. Again. That silence after the call? Man, it felt like closure in a way nothing else ever had. At this point, my dad was basically living in survival mode. Everything he'd stolen, built, lied about, gone. But I wasn't finished yet. See, while he was busy spiraling, I was still quietly working behind the scenes. Turns out, some of the money he took from my college fund hadn't just been spent, it had been invested. Real estate, offshore accounts, little, side projects, he never thought I'd even know about. The dude was arrogant, but he wasn't dumb, he knew how to hide assets. But here's the thing about people like that, they always slip up somewhere. And thanks to a damn good forensic accountant my lawyer hired, we found every single hidden dollar he tried to bury. Trust funds. Fake business accounts. Properties listed under shell companies. It was all traceable. Once we had the full paper trail, my lawyer hit him with the legal equivalent of a sledgehammer. Freezing accounts. Filing lawsuits. Demanding full restitution. My dad tried to fight it at first, hiring some overpriced lawyer who probably told him, "We'll get through this." Yeah, they didn't. The judge wasn't having any of it. The evidence was airtight. Everything he stole, everything he tried to hide, it all came crashing down. He was ordered to pay back the entire college fund with interest, along with legal fees and penalties. And because he couldn't pay, his remaining assets got liquidated. Every dollar he tried to stash for his new family? Gone. His retirement savings? Gone. Even his pension got touched. The man was financially wrecked. And as brutal as that was, I wasn't done watching yet. His new wife, remember the one who took off when things got bad? She came back when she heard about the court ruling. Not to help him, of course. Nope. She came back to file for divorce and claim whatever crumbs were left. And she didn't just leave quietly, she aired out every dirty secret he thought he kept buried. Affairs, shady deals, tax fraud, she spilled everything in her filings. It triggered more investigations, more legal trouble, more public embarrassment. The man who once paraded his perfect new life in front of me now had nothing but debt, humiliation, and criminal charges hanging over him. And me? I sat there watching it unfold, feeling calm. Like, not even joyful. just at peace. He finally got to feel what it's like to have everything you care about stripped away. The same way he stripped my future when he stole that college fund to play Daddy of the Year to someone else's kids. At this point, you'd think that would be the end of it, right? His money's gone, his marriage is gone, his name's trashed. But nah, karma wasn't even halfway done cooking yet. See, once the divorce mess started piling up, so did the skeletons. That woman, his lovely second wife, wasn't just exposing him to get her cut. She was bitter. She wanted to burn him to the ground. She went public. Social media posts. Private texts leaked. Screenshots of my dad bragging about how easy it was to take my college fund because, and I quote, "the kid won't even know what hit him." She put it all out there. And people ran with it. The local news picked up the story. It hit Facebook, Reddit threads, Twitter, everywhere. My dad became one of those viral cautionary tales. Headlines like, "Father steals son's college fund to spoil new family, gets ruined." I mean, people were roasting him. Complete strangers tearing him apart online. And man, I won't lie, I read every single comment. Every single meme. Every joke. Every time someone called him exactly what he was, a selfish, greedy piece of trash, it felt like a little bit of justice. And then came the real hammer. His employer found out. Turns out, when you're publicly exposed for stealing hundreds of thousands, hiding assets, and committing fraud, your company tends to care. They fired him. Publicly. Severance? Gone. Retirement packages? Gone. They even issued a statement distancing themselves from him. "We do not condone the actions of Mr. ______." His employment has been terminated effective immediately. His whole career, nuked. Years of building his image, his professional life, his reputation, gone in a single press release. And you want to hear something wild? His old friends? All those people who used to smile and nod at him during his perfect backyard cookouts? They ghosted him. Overnight. People he'd known for decades wouldn't return his calls. He was toxic. And me? I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. The world was doing the work for me now. All I did was sit back and watch as the man who once told me, "You'll understand when you're older," finally got a lesson he couldn't walk away from. By the time everything crashed down, my dad was a ghost of who he used to be. No job, no money, no wife, no friends. He ended up moving back into some tiny apartment 2 towns over, living off whatever scraps he could pull together. Word got around fast. He wasn't just some guy who made a mistake. He was that guy. The one who stole from his own kid to buy fancy trips for strangers. Even people who barely knew us stopped talking to him. My phone? Silent. No apologies. No explanations. Nothing. For a while, I kept expecting some kind of desperate message, like maybe he tried to spin it or beg for forgiveness, but nah. Radio silence. And you know what? I was fine with that. I didn't need closure from him. The closure came every single time someone else found out what he'd done and looked at him like he was dirt. That was enough. My mom. She stayed out of it. She texted me once, simply saying, "You did what you had to do. I'm proud of you." And honestly, that was probably the only thing that made me tear up through the whole mess. Eventually, I got my college fund back. The court froze his assets during the divorce and investigation, and when all the dust settled, a good chunk of my money was recovered through restitution. Was it everything? No. But it was enough to move on. I went to college. Graduated. Built my own life, one that had absolutely nothing to do with him. And every once in a while, I still hear little bits and pieces. How he tried dating again but nobody would touch him. How he can't hold a job because people Google his name. How even his old, perfect little new family eventually walked away when the money dried up. Karma did all the heavy lifting. I never raised my voice. Never threw a punch. Never had to chase him down. He ruined himself. And honestly, that's the sweetest kind of revenge you can get. Anyway, do you think I handled it right? Or would you have done something different? Drop your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this insane ride, don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications on. We've got plenty more real stories coming.